is stamped treat.
Hey everyone! Ooh, we can do more energy than that. It's Friday night.
Yeah.
Good evening!
Hey.
I'm Robert Goodson and the Managing Artistic Director here. And so thank you for being here this evening on night 2 of our Playwrights Festival. We have 3 amazing stories this evening to be told on our stage. Upcoming here at the Imperial Center, we have the Fairy Tale Network, which is being performed by Directions, our youth ensemble. That's September the 16th. We also have Clue, the fantastic Who Done It, which is happening October 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And right after Clue, we have auditions for Elf, the musical, which will be our holiday offering here as well. So a lot of great things to get involved with here at the Imperial Center. Up first this evening, we have Jackie Douglas. Jackie is no stranger to the stage, and she is bringing that northern class with that southern sass as she shares some words of wisdom and stories along the way. Jackie Douglas.
So good evening, everybody. As he said, my name is Jacquelyn Douglas. For you who don't know me, never met me, have no clue, there's a little story about that. It starts with a girl was born, the last of 3. That girl's now grown, and she is me. I dropped into the love-rich poverty of the Leroy and Marion Douglas family. And for some unknown reason, they decided to name me Jacquelyn, an actual Jacquelyn, Jacquelyn. You know, all those other people, they're not Jacquelyns, they're Jacquelines, they don't know that though. So anyway, it means princess, which I own, or royalty, which I have no association with. So, in life, I wanted always to have a really hip nickname. So I was young, it never happened. But the older I got, the more things changed. So I was vending Afrocentric items of all sorts across the African diaspora with a guy named Esau. And one day, Esau decided to start introducing me to all the customers that he knew and his friends as Ayana. I was livid. My mother said my name was Jacquelyn. I don't know, who are you to change it? People never forget that first thing they heard. They heard Ayana, that's going to stick with them. But after a while, I sort of grew on me, and he told me, well, I don't see why you're so upset. Ayana means in Greek and Arabic and a couple of other languages, it means beautiful flower. I should be flattered a little bit, but I thought he took unwanted liberties with my titles. So then, of course, that all changed. And as my friends flew by me on the great highway of success, and I was seemingly standing still on a street corner with no name, I decided that rather than call myself a loser, I would call myself a late bloomer. So, this evening, as I stand before you, trying to entertain you, I hope that I have achieved all that my names entail, which is to become a royally beautiful, late blooming flower. Jacquelyn Douglas. So that's it for the intro. Now, what I really do is I do a little poetry. And I always think that it's nice to have people laugh first. Then you can make them cry. So this is a little something that I thought was funny, the time that I read it anyway. And it's called B-U-T-T. Sightings of sensuous shook tanks send some shivers of pure delight. For but everybody's got one. Some seek to slap one, lick one, or lap one. But everybody's got one. Some care to caress one or dress to impress one. Oh, but Everybody's got one. Pump, plump, slack, sack, broad back, ooh, yeah, everybody's hard and hairy, stiff or scary, lean, mean, in between, duck butts and tank panties. Round, fat, or flat ones, kick, kiss, or attract one. Everybody wants some. Everybody gets some. And sooner or later, guess what, folks? Everybody is one. Hey, look. Everybody's got one, but. So, now we get to what I call a trilogy of love. If you ever, I can't really see you the way you can see me, but anybody here are you married or have been married? Raise your left hand. Ooh, lots of. Okay, anybody here been engaged or are engaged? Raise your right hand. Oh, you've been all that. Yeah. This guy's been around a few blocks. So anyway, when you get engaged, what you most want is for all your friends and family to just fall in love with this person that you're in love with, or either they love him so much they want to beat you, or they want to beat him, or they just want to be around you. That's what you want. So you go and you introduce this person to your people, and you're looking for advice. What did you think? What did you think? What did you think? So this came out for me. I've never been married, but I have been engaged a couple of times. Anyway, and surely, this is what your friends say, and surely goodness and mercy shall follow you all the days of your life. That's what they all said. When he walked into my life, he was the epitome of goodness. All he wanted was a wife. Magnanimity exemplified, generous to a fault. The only thing he really knew was he didn't know enough. And he invited a chosen few of his friends, of course, to know that he didn't know. So you see, it's most important. I acquired this new thinking. So God, with all his vision, gave fate a hand and led this man to me with all his wisdom. And he gently pointed out to me the things I didn't know, to all my friends and all his friends agreed that now I love. And his inner sanctum beckons me as one of the chosen few. And someday I will audit the nothing that they know. But for now, the work is harder than for fish to swim upstream. But it's what one does with opposites, each of two extremes. But the benefits, enormous. Meet the challenge, reap rewards. For, where did we say it was good? Surely, goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. So, we've gotten through, we're engaged. So now we're married. We're hoping this all turned out just like it said, goodness and mercy and all kinds of wonderful things. And then one day, I suppose this happens whether you're having a wonderful marriage or a horrible marriage. One day you wake up, you're kind of looking at this person, in this case a man, it might be Sunday or something, and you see across the room wearing those loose baggy boxers, maybe a white beater, might have a cup of coffee, lukewarm, paying more attention to that than you. As you're standing across the room, you're looking at him, and you're thinking about, could be doing something with me, to me, something. What's going on here? So this one starts like this. All right, right, that's right. You're thinking, not saying. So, when did I wish was it once upon some starry night I wished for love so true, so bright, or in some lonely of gloom while listening to some sad soul tune of the Bible. Do recall, I wish for someone 6 foot tall, dark and handsome, kind and smart, almost there, with dark and handsome, kind and heart, with soulful eyes and lion's heart. Someone who loved me from the start. Be by a star well understood. Well, I wish as if I thought I could. But perhaps you wish for someone too. Someone clever, smart like you. And she fit perfect in your arms. Oh, she possessed a multitude of charms. And you know what? Yes, indeed, we are the perfect mates, put forward to other souls to take. So next time there's some mystic night, we will each search for that star so bright. And then with all and both our might, we'll pray, dear star, please get it right. You like that too? I like it. Okay, now, the trilogy part of this is this part coming up. Well, what do you think happened to this couple? What do you think happened to that girl? Well, here we go. I won't leave you hanging. Let's see here. Today, the sun came streaming through my windows. It was laughing, it was playing, it was rousting me up. Oh, I awake, now refreshed, not rehearsed, as once in seasons gone by. Ooh, my world in my seasons of innocence was of muted colors, none defined, translucent pinks, misty mauves, sunless yellows, void of depth, of dearth, of verge and emotion, until he, at last, thundered by. Oh, I stood fast before the gale-force winds of his passions. It was a season of hurricanes and tornadoes. It was a season without reason to be the season of our love. Oh, I stood fast in hope of love until the darkness appeared on all my horizons with the lush, warm promise of sweet, drenching rains. Oh, it was him, drowning my seasons of doubt, striding in his blackest of glory, with wet, cleansing winds and thunder shouts. He was driving the winds and directing the lightning. He was clearing away all my loveless self-doubts. Oh, I stood fast before the gale-force wind of his emotion, growing hot, humid, wet, with his touch on his kiss. He brought color full bloom deep inside me. I stood fast, captive in his hurricane eye. Oh, I discovered the truth. I uncovered the lies. It was veiled lust, not love to be his passion. He was veiled lust. He was causing me pain. He who strode in bringing hard, stinging rain. He of large and thoughtless blunders, shrouding treachery with jealous-like wonders. Oh, he was twisting and spiraling lies. Oh, not the first, nor the last of his victims. Such demonic destruction I felt in his eye. Yes, I stood fast, knowing God had not destined such fury to last. In the gale-force winds of his passions, tornado to be hurricane, it was a season without reason, with pained pink, purple September skies. It was the season of our love. Oh, he'd arrived, arrayed in great black robes. Now he's spent. Now he's past. Now he's gone. Yes. Once upon a time, I stood fast as he swirled all around me. And with hurricane fury, he windswept, I asked. Windswept. So, at least you got a little from right? It started off that she said, oh, the day the sun came screaming through my window, laughing, playing, rousing me up. Well, that was after he was gone. So that's a good thing, right? You would agree. So that ends our trilogy of love poems. And now I have something quite a bit different that I also like, and you really have to listen carefully to what's going on here. This piece is called Not at All Ashamed. What it is about 2 years ago, I weighed 203 pounds. I'm 5'3". See? So 5'3" and 203 don't really match up. So one day I see myself, I ride a bike, I don't drive a car, I'm riding down Main Street, and I happen to catch my reflection in the mirror. And not a mirror, in one of those empty storefronts. So I'm riding, I just got my hair cut like this. And it's summertime, I have my white beater and something else under that, and my little shorts. I think I'm cute until I see myself in this window. And suddenly, I look like the circus bear. I said, you need to stop smiling and go home. You need to do something about yourself. Okay. And that's exactly what I did. Guess what I did when I got there? Anybody, everybody? Guess what I did when I got there? When I got there?
And a snack.
You got it! You got it! Okay, so I go home and I try to solve my problems with that. But what happened through that whole little experience, I started wondering how, sometimes you see people and you think to yourself, oh, how did they get that big? Oh, what happened? Why did they do that to themselves? Well, there's all kinds of things. People love basketball, they love all kinds of sports, they love all kinds of things, animals, all kinds of things, their car, their motorcycle, whatever, right? But people don't understand the love affair, because indeed it is a love affair with food. So you don't care if your back is hurting. You don't care if you're 7 sizes bigger than you were a year ago, whatever. All that is out the window, okay? Because, oh, look, this. And then you have special things you love. Well, in this case, this poem is an actual true story. It's something I actually did. There's a restaurant in Philadelphia, and everybody in the restaurant seemed to be buying this one cake. They had 7, and the cake was white, and had white icing. So I'm watching all these people buying this cake. So finally I asked the person that works there, I said, what is that cake? So they said, oh, that's a white chocolate mousse cake. So I'm like, not really. Okay. So they had a balcony in this restaurant, very strange. So I go up to the balcony, I'm all alone sitting at the table. I used to smoke, I don't smoke now. I'm not smoking yet in this piece. So I go up there and I put that fork in my mouth. And this is what happened. In public, blissfully at peace, with something wet, something cruel. clinging, sticking, and points upon her. Not at all, that pink tongue interrupts brown face, seeking, slurping, sticky stuff. Not at all ashamed that I had to have it. Had to have it. Had to have it. Before tongue touched it, eyes spied it, hands sought it. Decadently delightful, insinuating innocence, and I, resisting not the silent screams of sex. So oh, not at all ashamed. That my poor grace to keep pace with the vision that made my heart race. Oh, I had to have it, had to have it, had to have it. Got it! Deep and dripping, slickly sliding, gently gliding down my throat. Having it, not at all ashamed of the stroking till the plate vibrated. Oh, the caramel licks, the chocolate edging, so deliciously, so simple, so sweet, so soon gone. Oh, my heart slow, my eyes close. Oh, I wish I had some right now. My lips moan now, the Sauvignon washed down. The cigarette puff up. Foreplay. Till the next wickedly right, wildly sinful, gravity la creme, white, chocolate, mousse, intercourse. Now, I anxiously await my next encounter when I, resisting not the silent screams of sex or silver, will be not at all ashamed. Not at all ashamed. Oh, Jen, I am Douglas. It's not at all ashamed. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the evening. It's going to be exciting. And thank you all for coming.
Our next piece, commissioned by Katherine, is from a playwright, Jinna. Jinna is a Korean-American multidisciplinary artist, playwright, and filmmaker based in North Carolina. In addition to being a SAG-AFTRA eligible actress, whose 2022 Emmy Award for a fantastic commercial, Jinna continues to write, produce short films, and create interdisciplinary projects that highlight diverse perspectives while sneaking in educational and unique cultural content in delightful ways. Her first short film, originally a play, about suffragist Mabel Lee, titled Chinese Girl Won't Vote, is now part of the Digital Public Library of America. Jinna previously worked at the Museum of Modern Art and the Public Theater in New York City. We are proud to present Commissioned by her.
Dying wish? Your father's last wish on earth. Are you serious? Why me? Of course it's me. But it's been what, like 40 years?
Yeah, 40 years. 40 years ago, we were music majors in the same viola studio. Yeah, my father's dying wish is to have Schubert's Nocturno trio played at his funeral. You know it is heavenly.
But I've never played it. And it doesn't even have a viola part. It's written for the piano, violin, and cello. You said your sister could play the piano. Since you remembered I also played violin, you asked me to play violin. Then you could play the cello part on viola because it's in the same range.
But that's only if I can find the music transcribed for viola in time for the funeral. Technically, either of us could transcribe the bass clef into alto, but it would take too long by hand. Back when we were music majors 40 years ago, they didn't have those computer programs that could automatically transcribe music. We old school. These days, most people don't even know the difference between violin and viola.
Okay. So, finding the viola music is your problem. But my problem, I sold my violin 20 years ago. Time flies, huh? It's funny, you didn't even ask me why I sold my violin, but I want to tell you why. Because it's old, delicate, expensive, and time-consuming. It's not like riding a bike. You can't take a long break from playing classical music and immediately bounce back into something like you belong in a professional orchestra. No one questions Olympic athletes aging gracefully, but instrumentalists, once a musician, always a musician. Oh, and I know it's not about me, but dying wish? Come on. I didn't think I could feel aggravated, devastated, and flattered all at the same time. Devastated by the beauty of the music and circumstance. Flattered by the remembrance and honor to be with your family. Aggravated that after all this time has passed, he passed away from earth. Your father, who I've only met a handful of times, was so proud of you, not just because you were the oldest and smartest of your bunch of siblings. He was kind and generous and loved you so much that it even extended to your friends, to me.
You know, I always remember that fancy dinner he took us to when we were still students? Man, our first French bistro. Oh, and the champagne toast at my wedding. Oh, that was a real treat. Especially since we were just poor arts administrators. Jeez, having graduated with music degrees. Oh God, that was decades ago.
Today, though, is about you and celebrating your father. That's right. The funeral should be a celebration, not a mourning. He lived well past 90 and left behind such happy memories, healthy grandchildren, no debt. He's definitely in heaven, no doubt. Now I'm relieved and sad. Relieved you found the viola music and violin player who honestly plays better than me. Sad that I couldn't play violin myself, but again relieved.
So, tell me, you will be there for me, my family. And you do know that you were my very first friend in college.
Friends, decades ago. None of us are getting any younger. Someday it'll be me, and who will play the Nocturno then?
opportunity for many different stories to be told. And at the heart of theater, that's what we all are doing. We're storytellers. Our last storyteller this evening is Katherine Bortner, is a high school theater arts teacher with a wicked sense of humor. She is our fabulous costume designer here, and you can see her on the stage, including her fantastic costumes. She's been delighting audiences for years, on and off the stage, with her storytelling abilities, and now you'll get the chance to hear her magic too. Scars is a series of monologues and scenes that examine not only physical scars and the interesting ways we've all acquired them, but also the emotional and psychological scars that we humans carry with us and shape who we are. After this performance, please take a moment. We'll have a talkback session with our playwright and get her inside scoop on how she put this show together. It's our pleasure to present Scars by Katherine Bortner.
If I told you that I was fearless as a child, could you see the signs of it now?
If you knew that I was in a car crash last year, would you know where I was injured?
If you heard that she was raped by a predator on her first date, could you see it in her eyes?
If you guessed that he was bullied as a child, could you hear it in his voice? Could you?
Who can see the remnants of their traumas?
Who can see our scars?
I knew a kid once who had this funny scar on his lip. He said it was a hammering accident. And now I can't even think about it without picturing it.
When we were young, my parents took us to the emergency room so often that eventually they just let us heal on our own without even getting stitches.
There was a girl in my elementary school who didn't have an arm below one elbow. It was a topic of speculation to us. To her, it was a Tuesday.
Mrs. Lenz had a C-section for all three of her children. At the beach, she proudly wears bikinis. She claims she has 3 little angels, and the battle scars to prove it.
Some scars are on the outside for all to see. Some scars are on the inside, hidden from all but me. No one makes it through life without some sort of mark. All have a story, whether they be happy or dark. No one leaves the world without marks of life. I am who I am because of my strife.
My scar is on my knee from a fall off my bike.
Mine's on my heart from when they called me a dyke.
I was a fat teen who hid from them all.
I always felt outcast because I was small.
My scars are from dying. Stretch stripes, they're called.
They pointed and they mocked me. They laughed when I bawled.
Scars on the inside, scars on the out. Symbols of our struggles, sources of doubt. Everybody has them. Do you know their story? Some are deep, dark secrets. Some are bathed in glory. Here now are some stories, our truths we will share. We stand here before you, our blemishes bare.
Scars? Fuck, I don't know. I have big brothers. Does that count? They left some marks. I used to like to make rhymes that annoyed them, I guess. Sometimes I'd start rhyming and I couldn't stop. I'd say, Joe don't know that he's a big mo, or Jerry, big fat fairy. Calling a guy gay or just rhyming it was grounds for a beating. There was that time that Joe hit me in the balls with his dollar store golf club. Or the time that he blindfolded me and ran me into every tree he could find. Or that time he pulled me off the wagon so hard I flew out the back and bounced down the road. Then there was that time John convinced me that we could give ourselves tattoos if we rubbed erasers really hard on our arms until they bled. I went first. Still have that. My brother Mitt used to get really pissed when I followed him around. Most of anybody, my rhymes drove him crazy. I'd say, "Hey there, Mitt, you got a big zit." Or when the other guys were listening, I'd say, "Hey, Mitt, you big ass shit." I just wanted to be one of the guys. Then there was that summer I was home from boot camp and we all played drink and spin. You know, that game where you drink a beer real quick and then spin around with your head on a bat or something. And then you're supposed to try and find a glass and drink again. Usually you just throw up. And that's what they all did, but not me. I stood right up, chugged the rest of my beer, and smushed the can right on my forehead. I woke up in the emergency room after that. With the coolest set of stitches you've ever seen, forming a circle right near my nose, right in the middle of my face. Yeah, being the youngest leaves scars. I guess it can be said that I have scars from my balls to my head.
Hello, class of 2018. Maybe none of you remember me, that's okay. I kept my head down. Maybe my teammates remember the goal I scored by accidentally bouncing the ball off the goalie's head. But they probably don't remember that it was me who did it. But I bet you all remember my brother Luke. He made you laugh. He made you feel better about yourself by comparison. But you don't know the crap that my brother woke up to every morning or any of the anxiety he fought every day inside his brain. And then when he walked into this school, you don't remember his love of 70s music or how he could say every line from The Nightmare Before Christmas by heart. What you remember is his pink hair, his soft voice, and every day that you question his existence. I guess Luke was an easy target. Hell, even I couldn't deal with him sometimes. Sometimes he seemed like two people, my sweet baby brother and a kid with a dark inner life where I was a stranger. What I do know is that when he was 16, he took his own life because he believed he was nothing. He drank all the drain cleaner he could find in our house, which, because of my mom's housekeeping business, was quite a lot. The poison eroded his esophagus and perforated his stomach and intestines. The doctor said there was so much damage that he was beyond saving. Even they didn't know what to do with him. I don't know if my brother was gay or retarded or any of the other things you said about him with the internet to hide behind. The horrible, unkind things we say about each other and never think about how it impacts them. All day we shuffle around focused on ourselves, knocking down others like bowling pins. Is that an acceptable way to live our lives? What kind of people did we want to be when we got out of high school? Luke kept all of his pain on the inside and it killed him. I don't know about you, but I want to be remembered as Luke's big sister, the girl who saw what he could be. Luke went into his grave with his organs ripped up like calamari and charcoal stains in his mouth. Imagine what a pretty corpse we leave if all of our scars are on the inside. Stop crying. People are looking. Who did what?
Not crying.
Fine, you're I know what happened, Lou, all right? Like, before, who did it? Did you tell the teacher? Did you tell Mom?
I told you, don't worry about it. I can take care of myself. Go to class. It'll be over soon.
You asked for this. You know that, right? You make so much drama for yourself. Come on, Luke. If you don't want help, quit acting like you're a victim. I'm so sick of you pulling this crap. All you want is sympathy, right? Then you'll be all bubbly again. Oh, yeah, life is so great. You just got to find the party.
Leave me alone! I'm fine. Go away, okay?
That's typical. You're fine and I'm late for class for nothing. You're a freak, Lou. Your brain is set and retarded and you're a hopeless loser. Find your own way home from school. I'm going bowling with Jessie. Oh, and you have snot on your face. Not crying, right?
My best scar is on my butt. I haven't seen it in years because, well, my butt got bigger. And it's way back there. It's hard to see it without some serious twisting in a handheld mirror, but I have been assured it is still there. When I was 5, we lived in Carbondale, Illinois. I attended kindergarten in the afternoon session, and my older sister was in the 2nd grade. She walked to school every morning by herself, and Mama picked us both up after school. Mornings were spent alone with Mama. The thing is, Mama had a routine. Each day, she allotted a specific task for herself. Monday mornings were for planning the week's meals and making the grocery list. She usually went to the A&P after taking me to school. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays all ran together, and to be honest, I don't remember the schedule for those days, but every day we watched her sew. Search for tomorrow at 11:30, and then left for school right after. Most days, Mama let me help her or watch her activities, but on Mondays, I would hear her, "Go outside and play until search comes on." One memorable Monday morning, I heard the familiar refrain, "Go outside." So I did. We had a carport in those days, and Mama and Daddy drove one of those old VW Bugs. I loved that car. Oh, it was so cute. I like to crawl on the back of it and sit on a little hump that covered the license plate. Do you remember those? This particular day, I was imagining I was having tea with some very grand company. I sat on the hump with my feet clad in my spotless school shoes, propped up on the rear bumper. All at once, my feet slipped off the bumper and fell off the hump and scraped my butt across the license plate. There was blood everywhere. Now, I forgot to mention that the number 1 rule in my family was don't sit on cars. And I knew that that included our own. I was going to be in deep trouble. So, I don't know if you remember Search for Tomorrow, but there was always some disaster happening, and I'd seen quite a few episodes where an incident had occurred. I knew that setting the stage was important, even at age 5, to my story's believability. So the slice about 2 inches wide on my hind end, it was only 8 inches wide to begin with, it was bleeding like a proverbial stuck pig. I took the time to set up a crime scene in our carport. I turned my tricycle on its side. I tossed my sister's Barbies willy-nilly all around. Building blocks were stacked up and progressively tumbled in a random pattern. And most importantly, I overturned my plastic cup of apple juice and let it slurp all over the wall. This was truly a crime scene where something horrible, not involving sitting on a car, for sure had happened. I looked around, the stage was set. I was sure everything pointed to a tragic tricycle accident and had nothing whatsoever to do I hobbled inside, put on my best search for tomorrow tragic figure face, and announced that I had been involved in an accident and I think I was in need of medical treatment. Yes, I have always talked in that formal manner. Mama, I said, it's horrific, but I'm managing it. I believe we should go to the doctor to get a bigger Band-Aid. I thought I was in the clear. But did my mother scoop me into her arms and bundle me off for emergency care? No! She left me standing there and went out to investigate. I gotta say, she was not fooled, not for a second. Not my mother, My mother had one of the greatest senses of humor I've ever known, and a laugh that makes me smile just at the memory of it. So, I shouldn't have been surprised when I heard her full-bodied, all-knowing belly laugh wafting in through the apple juice-encrusted bathroom. After her laugh died down to an occasional giggle and snort, she made me cough up the truth. But she had appreciated my theatrical flair. Later, she took us all out for dinner at the IHOP, ice cream sundaes, and a drive-in movie. I stood up in the back seat of the VW because I couldn't sit. It was one of the greatest days of my life. That's why I tell this story all the time. Most people don't ever see my butt scar. I try to avoid dropping my drawers in public, but it's a good story. Mama's gone now, and missing and remembering her is another scar. But I don't try to look at that one often. Looked at together, the accident and Mama's validation of my creative efforts are two of my fondest memories. I'm an actor because someone who loved me appreciated stories I made up in my head. And I have a good sense of humor because I learned at the knee of someone who understood that there is humor to be found in all situations. Scars will stick with you forever. But I guess not all scars are things you want to get rid of. With Mama, the scars of love and loss are all tangled up together and are sometimes worth the effort to find a rearview mirror to examine them again.
I'm a twin. We was born 10 minutes apart. Bam was first. Nobody knew I was big, because Bam was so big and I was so little. Mama named us Ronald and Matilda, but everybody called us Bam and Tiny. Auntie T says Bam took up all the room inside Mama's belly. She said he was always wrapped around me, and I didn't get enough food from Mama and couldn't move around. The doctor almost didn't see me. I was still inside after Bam came out. Like, Bam hit me. He's always been like that. Always protecting me from big kids and bullies. When we was growing up, Mommy and TT were all we knew. But TT didn't live with us. And when we was growing up, she and Mommy yelled at each other a lot when she was at our house. Mommy worked all day and wanted the house quiet at night when she was home. Sometimes some of her friends would come over and they'd all sit around the house. Mommy said, we gotta stay out there with her. Me and Bam would whisper and giggle in our room. He'd tell me jokes. And sometimes I laughed so hard, I had to stuff my face under Bam's arm so I wouldn't bother Mommy and her friends. Now that I'm older, I know that Mommy's friends bought her drugs and paid her to sleep with them too. But then, I just thought grown-ups needed lots of quiet time. That's what Bam said, and I believed it. I still hear Bam's voice saying that in my head, grown-ups need lots of quiet. One day, when we were 4, Mommy was fighting with TT. They were loud and I was scared. Bam dragged me outside. We hid under a big tree. It was just after Easter. He had 2 chocolate eggs in his hand. We sat under that tree eating those chocolate eggs and waiting until the fight was over. Mommy was loud, crying, cussing. So I stuffed my head under Bam's arm like I did when I had the giggles. But this time, it blocked out some of the noise. Bam said, TT's gone. Let's wait till Mommy goes to sleep. So we hunkered in. Bam protected me, like always. I woke up later, hearing Mommy screaming, "Don't you ever do that to me again!" and dragging me and Bam into the kitchen. "I'll show you how to hide." First me and then Bam got pushed into our oven. I could feel it get hot. Bam wrapped his arms around me and I shoved my head under his arm. It got hotter. All I could feel was burn on my leg and Bam's hugging me tight. But he kept saying my name. Tighten me, tighten me, tighten me, tighten me. I think I was crying too because all I could see was wet. But Mommy's voice had stopped. I don't remember when TT came back or when the hot went away or when Bam stopped saying my name. I think I'm still a twin. But now, I have this mark on my face. And my leg. And people point and close their eyes and pretend they don't see me. They don't see Bam either. But I do. I see him every time I see this mark. Bam's gone. I ain't got no brother now. Because Bam protected me. He wrapped his arms around me in that oven, and he took up all the rings.
Mom, I didn't try to hurt you.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it either. I don't understand you. You got your ears pierced when you were 13 and your mother hated it, but she got over it. Why can't you see this is the same issue with our generation? You didn't want me to do it because you don't think it looks good. Why can't you see that this is no big deal? I'm 17. Besides, everyone I know does it.
And if every one of your friends decided to go jump off the bridge, would you?
That is a lame argument. Of course I wouldn't just because everyone else did, but this isn't that. I want to be different from everyone else, and you know that. This is no big deal nowadays.
Trashy is trashy. Doesn't matter what day it is. What will happen when you're old and wrinkled, or even when you're 30 and you're just not quite as tight as you are now? You know what? Will you still be proud of marking your body? Tattoos are for sailors and New Guinea natives.
Mom, that's racist. Just look at it. It's really beautiful, Mom. Come on, just keep an open mind.
Oh, good God, where is it? in that place a tramp stamp. That is what everyone will think of you. You are scarred, Kelly. No one will ever have any respect for you if you don't respect your own body.
Mom, do you respect me?
I was writing poetry sitting up in an apple tree when I was young. I have been actively writing poetry since 3rd grade. I felt things. I still feel things, and I have to get it out on paper. Most people think that's strange. Most people think I'm strange. I'm okay with that most days. Some days it's like walking around with a sign on my back that says, weirdo. My teacher loves my poetry, and he said, I carry the scars of a poet's heart. I think he means I feel things. My first poem was about my great-grandpa. He was in his 80s when I was born, and now he's lots older, and Aunt Nat and Granddad Bob put him in an old folks home. There were so many old people there when we visited. Mama said not to say it loud, but the place smelled bad. There were dusty, gray, old people sitting in wheelchairs everywhere. People in white coats seemed to move all over the place, moving people's grandmas and grandpas in and out of the doors. The windows were covered in heavy beige curtains. What I thought smelled like vegetable soup and grilled cheese sandwiches came floating out of the cafeteria. For a minute, I laughed. It reminded me of the cafeteria at my school, but then I remembered that the food was horrible. Then they rolled great-grandpa out and put him by the window, pulled back the curtain to let in some light, and we all sat around him and waited for him to talk. He said, "Howdy, relatives. Am I dead yet?" Then he laughed, and we laughed too. He always made me laugh. He's my favorite person. I started to feel better about him living there. I tried to see the hospital as a good place for him. When I got home that first day, I climbed up in my apple tree, just like I did when I was little, and I started to write about my great-grandpa. But this time, I imagined his new home with the walls lined with mirrors. All the old people reflected in the mirrors as they were when they were young. Instead of being rolled around in wheelchairs by white-coated attendants, they waltzed across the mirrors with elegant partners. Instead of dusty gray faces and arms, their skin and eyes sparkled with life. Light flooded in from everywhere. Now when I go to visit, I try to see those reflected images of great-grandpa's new home and new hospital family, smiling and laughing and living their lives as the young people like they remembered themselves. I don't think it's sad they got old. I just like the idea that who they all were is still who they are, reflected all around them, like a kaleidoscope. Once I heard Bob say to his mother, about his mother, great-grandpa's wife, liked to write poems too. He said she carried all of our family's memories in those poems. If that memory is the scar that my teacher was talking about, I'm proud to have it and carry around the memories in my heart forever. But I'll always have to write it down. I'm a writer.
Life is not a cabaret. It is a fucking circus. It is, I don't know who said that, but I had a postcard with it written on it, tucked into a mirror in my bathroom for years. That's my life. Fucking circus. The fucking Ringling Brothers Museum quality, panoramic, 3-ring circus. Slide, please. Slide, please. As I said, a fucking circus. Picture yourself in a museum with one of those panoramic slideshows projected over your head. You might even begin to feel the pain in the back of your neck. And that's good. That's good. Embrace that, because it'll reinforce my story. Here's my family. Now, obviously, they didn't have the wide green pants or the oversized tie or the purple hair, or except for that one year. No, wait, I've gotten past that. No, never mind. Nope. I let that one go anyway. They were wild, unique, snobbish, boozy, out of style by a generation, and without a filter. Next slide, please. I am the only child of an alcoholic couple who were both in their 40s when I was born. There's no sad reason that they waited so long to have children. I really think they just didn't get around to it. Operating an active circus life takes up a lot of your energy, but surprisingly, it provided little time for actual fucking. So when they actually got around to it, I came along and they propped me up on a lion's pedestal, might have been a chair, and went on with their lives in the first ring of our circus life. Next slide! My world was atypical as a kid. I wet the bed until I was 13. Never learned to ride a bike, swim, blow a bubble with my gums, skip a rock, or build a snowman. However, I attended more adult Halloween and New Year's parties than any kid I knew, and I had the best costumes ever. My parents' control of the Cincinnati middle-aged upper crust party circuit was epic, and I was their club kid mascot. There was always a show to watch. I never learned how to make Nestle's Toll House cookies, but I could serve up a Manhattan cocktail that would put any other 8-year-old to shame. I'll look at that now. Slide! Here, in the next ring of the circus of my life, I understandably parlayed those cocktail-making skills into a profound case of alcoholism. With a little herpes sideshow. I was a mess. I had no clue. Lying had become a way of life, and I was as good at lying to myself as I was at fabricating excuses for everything that I had caused to explode in my life. By that time, my parents had exited stage left. I found myself encouraged by my local law enforcement agencies to enter a halfway house. One of my housemates looked like an emaciated papa. It could have been olive oil. It's kind of hard to do. Another resident decided my showering time would be put to better use as a partner activity. There was this completely bald, bug-eyed octogenarian who enjoyed skiing across the floor in their own vomit. Produced by an elaborate finger-inserting exercise that has scarred both of us for life in different ways. For God's sake, I realized I'm living in the fucking circus again! I lived there for 2 years and finally got my life together. I began and finished my education. I got sober. I was in love. I was in love. And then find out at 32 that you have HIV. Kind of a circus! know what I'm doing up here. I have no slides. I have nothing. I am in the third ring of my fucking circus. And I can't hide this part. Like I hid alcoholic parents or my childhood skills or my own alcoholism or even herpes. Look at the shit on my face. The doctor he calls them expected papules. My skin is disgusting. I've lost my hair. I look like hell in a hat. Look, I can handle a lot. I've beaten pneumonia twice. I've survived it all unscathed. This fucking disease, it's going to mark me. And then kill me. And I have diarrhea that doesn't end. My short-term memory is for shit. All I can remember is this fucking circus that I grew up in vivid detail, and I made the circus freak look like such a fucking relic. Everything I love is gone. And am I supposed to hope for a fourth ring? A fourth ring in this fucking circus? Or do I just give up? I give up! And I bow out.
Look, I'll be right back. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Well, I'll just sit here and play Miss Pac-Man. My favorite part of the putt is playing the Miss Pac-Man machine with my markers list.
Oh, wow. This Pizza Hut's bedroom's sure and small. By the way, why do you call it the Peppa Pizza? Why do you call Pizza Hut a puzzle?
What? Oh, it's a silly story actually. It's really dumb. But when I was a little kid, I went to camp in West Virginia. Oh, it was a great place. But as soon as my parents came to Parents' Day, I begged to be taken out to play mini golf and get pizza. They were right next to each other. So anyway, my dad's car was really slow, and it always seemed that by the time we got to the place, we'd either have time to go get pizza or play mini golf. Since mini golf is sometimes called putt golf, and since my dad's car putted along, We just started calling anything and everything, even the pizza place, Putt Putt. I told you the story was silly. Oh, come on! A pity giggle, at least? Hey, are you still in there?
I'm here. Can you come to the door, please?
What's going on?
Can you give me some toilet paper? Don't ask the waiter, just check the other restaurant.
Why can't I just ask the waiter? Sure, no problem. I'll fetch the TV for you. I don't have anything better to do. Not trying to get my initials on the game here as grand champion, leave my mark at the Putt Putt for all to remember, but no. Your Royal Highness must have the royal TP. Here you go. You're welcome. Oh, no problem, partner. Take nothing. Favor.
Will you shut up? I'm trying to concentrate here.
And I'm trying to get my name on the board so that all of the Putt Putt Kingdom will know my name.
Do you think you could discreetly ask for a plunger?
What?
I need a plunger.
Fine. I will be right back.
Forgive that. We need to go.
Don't you need to? I gotta finish my game, make history, leave a legacy.
This will make us infamous. No one will ever forget this day. Look, we have left our mark. Let's go. Let's go.
You can see my marks left by time. You can hide your scars, but I can't hide mine.
I will not know yours until you tell.
We hide it inside our own dark hell.
Find someone you trust to share your story.
It can't be worse than ours. We're bloody and gory.
Don't hide your scars, bring them forth with pride. Your stories are important. Tell someone your side.
If scars are the points we earn in our life,
Let's embrace our love, our courage, and our strife.
It's good to roll up your sleeves and look at our scars.
So what are yours? We show you ours.
Yes.
I thought at first, I thought, okay, could this be a play, you know, you could do with high school? But then there's the adult portion. I'm not saying that would necessarily preclude it from that audience, but it was certainly interesting.
Yeah, I've always thought of it as sort of a, like a quilt that you keep adding pieces to. All of the stories came at least from a seed idea. I think one of them was Brooke's. I'll tell you which one they were, the brothers and the eraser. But I mean, I've been for years asking people to tell me where their scars came from, so yeah, it could be with different pieces subbed in. It could be a high school. But yeah.
You saw tonight it's almost like chapters. I think it's called seriation, remember? In which case, if you mix them up, would it tell a different story? Or one, if you mix them up, it'll tell a different story. And then two, kind of thinking about film, what did you leave on the cutting room floor? Because I think, I'm guessing you have more monologues in your head. If not now, they'll be later. And is this piece malleable like that?
It is. Like I said, the idea of a quilt, it can always be added to. There's actually one that we took out once. I came to one rehearsal. I wanted to see what a director would do with it. If a writer is only as good as how their work can be interpreted. Don't quote that because it doesn't sound very good. But I think that if I can't communicate it, if I can't put it on paper and have it communicate to a director, then it needs work, which is not your question. Your question. I don't even remember your question. You were cutting room floor. Cutting room floor. Oh yeah, thank you. So there's another one that I saw when they were rehearsing, and it wasn't ready. It is not my story, and it's a subject matter. It's about a teen who cuts themselves, and I had a very good source on it, but I should have gone back to the source because when it got to a particular point in it, the teacher in me came through, and it came off sounding very preachy. And I didn't, that's not how, when she told me her story, and when I've heard her tell other people the story, it's not preachy. It's this is who I am, these are the scars, that's what these scars are. And so we pulled that one out because it's not ready. And I've got other stories in my head that just haven't come out.
And what about the order of the monologues?
That was a good question. I don't know. What do you think, Reed? Could you rearrange the order?
I think you could, and I think that by having a different order, it can have a different effect of the overall your mood and what you're trying to take away from. I also think that just from a director standpoint, it might be fun to maybe do some slicing and do some more interweaving of the stories.
Like Ruthie and the brother?
Right, that type of stuff. But if the Tramp stand is going on and that's happening and then the writer's happening and somehow they're, so I think the great thing is that there's a lot of opportunity for interpretation.
Yeah. I did make one choice in how order that I put them in. There are a couple that are very hard to hear. Tiny and Bam is one of them. So I put Tramp Stamp after Tramp and Bam so that people could breathe again. That one, it was a tough one to write, a tough one to hear. Even though I wrote it, it's hard to hear it again. You did such a good job with it. You did such a good job. That was really, really wonderful. Everybody all did a great job. I love, and I'm guessing, I don't know if it was Reed or Will that decided to read the slides for the circus. Very funny, very funny.
Not at all what was in the script, but very, very funny. Yeah. Some things you just find out when you get on stage.
I loved the way you staged the beginning of it. My thought on it, it was a darkened stage with the voices coming out of the dark, but I loved it. I love them moving around like people. Anybody else? Yes.
So, the piece with the circus, the Brewery Circus, I think without the humor of the slides, that would have been really hard. Really, I mean, it was hard. So to hear that, especially if you know and love someone who experiences that.
Yeah.
But without the humor on the slides, it would have been almost impossible.
Yeah. Well, it was funny the way I wrote it too. You're right that the humor on the slide is important for the scene because it's this person is an entertainer or an exhibitionist or an extrovert or something that having visual aids is important. I love the choice they made. Instead of mine, which describes what every slide should be, there should be circus people here, and there should be other,
I assume it was your description, but that they just literally took the words.
But it was meant to be funny, so yes, but I just thought that was funnier than I could have thought.
And she did not write that the glasses get stuck in my head. That was just pure genius of the moment.
And just thinking about each little section, it seems like the only really funny one was Brooke's butt scar. And I just wonder if there is room somewhere to show scarring that is culturally significant. How that might put a different twist on how scars can be very positive beautification, almost.
Yeah, I think that's terrific. I need to talk to you and get.
Well, that's the level of my erudition on that, but it just struck me that, I think societally, at least in the United States, we think of scars as.
Well, she did mention the beginning.
Yeah.
With some of the thing, and then her daughter told her she was a racist. But then there are a lot of cultures that have scarification ceremonies as a passage of.
Right.
Man.
Well, there's other, you say, ask about other stories. There's other stories in my head. I know that young African girls are circumcised. And there's a nasty scar with that because it's not done, in hospital and stuff. But that's not something I know that I have had anyone tell me that story. So I don't have those words, and I don't want to do it if it's not authentic. So there are probably lots of cultural stories that I haven't tapped into yet. I think that you're right. Those stories are out there and can be added to this quilt. Yes. Luke.
I found it entertaining. I found it moving. I found it scary because I was thinking, oh, please don't tell me Kate has had all these scars in her lives and this is all her. I'm glad you've heard other stories. It's not just something from
Only
me.
one of them's mine.
I won't ask which one. But
We're going to see your butt.
That's all everybody has them.
That's true.
well, about the
Jacquelyn's poem.
I am completely pleased and glad I came and appreciate each one of you as you performed and your creativity. And I was very moved by that, and I thank you. And I thank all the actors for They're wonderful skills that you enable them to do because of your wonderful writing, so I thank you.
And thank you for coming out and spending the time to support.
Thank you, Colonel. Actors, anything you want to say?
Who are you and where are you from?
There you go.
Kimberly. Hi, I'm Kimberly Patterson. I am originally from Greensboro, and I went to East Carolina for undergrad. I got my BFA in acting from East Carolina, and then I was in New Orleans for about 7-8 years. Then I got my master's in acting from UCLA. I got my master's from UCLA. And
Next slide, please.
and then maybe I'll just bow out. And I moved back here about 2 years ago. My mom has Alzheimer's, so I came back to help take care of my mom and have my whole family with her as long as we can. So I'm lucky enough to get to work with these lovely people on here.
I'm Brooke Edwards, and I'm originally from Illinois. I've been an actor and a director and a producer all my life. I moved here about 8 years, that was 8 years ago, August, to run the theater here. And then 2 years ago, I thought it would be a really good idea to run the whole facility, so I do that now. It's very different. No, it's fun, it's great, I love it. But yeah, so I didn't go to UCLA, I went to Western Illinois University. I'm an aquarium.
Probably actually been to Probably actually been to Carbondale.
Yes, I actually know Carbondale, because that's where we used to, that's the party, that's
Yes, it is.
the party school. Yeah, and I've acted and directed all over the country and ended up in North Carolina for a job, like most of us do in the theater world. So, yeah.
Hi, my name is Michael Travis Reed. I'm from Rocky Mountain, North Carolina. And, yeah.
That's one of my students.
Yeah, I was one of her students.
So is that.
I read this show a couple years back, same one, and yeah, I still love it.
And I directed you in your first show here, which was The Hobbit.
Yeah, she was my first director, and my mom's not here, but she would love to be.
Your sister's here.
My sister is here.
And Travis just came off a fabulous run up from Little Shop of Horrors, where he played the dentist.
I did do the dentist in Little Shop of Horrors. I do a bunch of theater around here, so.
And they'll be acting in Clue. They'll be in Clue as well, coming up in October.
Well, you already heard my story. I introduced myself. That was pretty much it. I've always been, I wrote since I was a little girl. I wrote short stories. I thought I was going to become a writer. I did dip my pen in that well for a while in Philadelphia, where I came from. I did performance poetry there, and I did some acting there, but it's been about 10 years since I actually did anything really. So this was my first experience here in Rocky Mountain, and I'm just glad to see an audience and glad that the audience appreciated me in any way. Thank you once again, Jacquelyn.
Hi, I'm Keylea Nicole. I'm originally from Whiteville, North Carolina. And then I moved to Nashville, North Carolina, a little over a decade ago. I'm also, as you know, one of her previous students. I will say that I respect her so much. Totally fell in love with her during high school, and it's part of the reason why I'm doing this and doing what I'm doing now. I am currently a director and teacher for our student program here at the Imperial Center called Directions for K-7. So much fun. And my next big goal is to hopefully one day write something like this. And this is a wonderful opportunity, and I thank you and all my wonderful castmates.
Hi, I'm Nicole Bellamy. I'm originally from Houston, Texas. My mother married a man who lived out here, and I was not ready to let my mother live that far away from me, so here I am. I've been writing and acting for a long time, longer than I care to admit. I've been on this stage several times and I really enjoy it, and I've worked with
Several.
most of these
Several.
people.
She's also
and
included.
now all of these people. And I look forward to doing more. Come see Clue.
We can't let you all sit on the lawn. Let you go unless anybody else has any other questions. All right, go for it. Oh, wait.
My first time here, and I will definitely be back. The short skits that they all did and brought them all together, I just love them. Awesome job, guys.
Thank you so much for coming out.
While we're sitting here, did anybody want to ask Jacquelyn questions about her poetry? 'Cause it was really-
Yeah,
There we go.
yeah. The butt monologue, I detected a little George Carlin influence.
No, there really wasn't. I have really no clue where that came from. I usually know why I wrote it, but I really don't know why I wrote that. It just came out of me. I used to hear all the time. I also do short stories, and I was going to do one tonight. So let's just give you Coach Club. So, but I do write short stories, and I used to hear writers frequently say that the story wrote itself, and I would be like, that stuff. I couldn't understand how that happened. But I wrote a story once, and while I was writing it, I really, truly did not know what the next sentence was going to be. It simply came onto the paper, and it was one of my favorites. It's a sad story about a little boy, but it's called Paper Moon. And a lot of my poetry is named after, like, surely goodness and mercy shall follow you all the days of your life, and then you get the engagement story, and then you get be careful what you wish for after she got married, and then you get when swear. So, I try to name them so you can't guess immediately what it's going to be. I have one called Fat Girl. Do you think it's about a fat girl?
No.
No, it's not. It's about a double bass.
Oh.
And she's the fat girl. So, and what happens? So yeah, so I look forward to being able to introduce you to other shades of what it is that I do.
Look forward to it.
Thank you all for being here, and then remember, our last show is Sunday at 2 o'clock, and that'll be our last piece of our Playwrights Festival. Thank you all so much for being here.